Mike's hot. You're live.
Welcome to the Town of Auburn Planning Board meeting of Tuesday, March 11th, 2025, now called to order at 7 p.m. This meeting is being recorded and broadcasted live by local access programming. Is there anyone in the audience tonight that's recording this meeting? Being none, please rise and join us in a salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I would like to remind the audience, applicants, town administration, and each of the planning board members to please refrain from asking questions in regards to all matters discussed this evening without first being granted my consent. The first item on our agenda tonight is applicant Training Wheels of New England requesting special permit under 6.2.3 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for a reduction in parking spaces for a motorcycle school to operate in a parking lot at 385 Southbridge Street, Auburn, map 33, parcel 87. Is there anyone here representing Training Wheels?
Do you want to open the hearing?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
you have to go to the mic. May I have a motion to open the hearing?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, Glenn?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Aye.
Myself, Jeremy's and I, the meeting is now open.
Evening.
Good evening.
I don't have a formal presentation. I don't know if you have any questions or if you want me to describe what we're...
For the record, if you could just give your name and address, please.
Perfect. Rick Siegel, and I live in 41 Misty Lane in Brewster, Mass. And my company's Training Wheels. Oops, see, I broke your mic.
There we go.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, thanks. Did you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Rick Siegel? Okay, thanks.
Can you tell us a little bit about this project?
Sure. So so Training Wheels is my company that we teach people to ride motorcycles, and we've 25 years I started doing this. It's all we do. We're not a motorcycle dealership or anything else or cars. It's strictly what we do. We have 13 locations with 45 employees in Massachusetts. We train thousands of students every year. Take it pretty seriously, but we're having fun doing it, and we wanted to open somewhere in Worcester County, and so Auburn Mall allowed us to entertain it, and we'd like to open up a location at the mall.
Thank you.
We only use the parking lot. We don't use any inside. There's no inside of the building. The classroom portion of our program, so the program's a 2-day course. It's Saturdays and Sunday morning mostly. It's about 5.5 hours of riding, and there's a 5-hour online course that people take prior to getting there. They do it on their own. So the whole course itself is about 16 hours actually. And they get their motorcycle license when they graduate the class.
Can you walk us through your site plan here?
Sure. So there is one difference because I met with Ray and we discussed a safer option for parking. But so the coned off, where it says coned off riding area, that actually is the area that we actually literally cone off. Every few feet is a cone to keep everybody just aware of what's going on. We purposely pick the middle of the parking lot so that it's aware. Everybody has a chance to see it. But what's important to know, I think, is it's 20 feet, picture a picture frame with a picture. There's a 20-foot buffer all the way around it on the inside of where I marked off. So it's so they're only in theory supposed to stay within the picture part of the picture frame. So when you see the coned off area part, that's actually where the outside perimeter is what we call it. And that's where the cones would be. Hopefully nobody really goes near the cones. It's just really to keep people from the outside looking in. The one change that we did make, we thought it was a little bit safer, traffic flow wise, and more convenient for our students, were to move the storage container. It's a 8-foot by 40-foot storage container that you're most likely familiar with. We put it next to the white building, the old Sears building. We put it down there because it was just out of the way and it was just a little bit more convenient to keep it out of the way over there versus just in the middle of a parking lot. And we can also tell our students to, because everybody's gets there pre-registered, nobody just walks in. We tell everybody to just park their car. We would tell them where to park over there. So there's a smaller parking lot in front of the Sears building and also a few more spots in back, which would be really easy for people to just get there and park and be right near the container where we start our day and end our day. One thing that might inevitably come up, so I'll jump ahead and answer, is that we do plan on coning off a couple of the entrances that aren't really used that often, but just we want to keep people from just accidentally coming in and using it. There's one main entrance where the letter C in coned, that entrance we're going to keep open. That's sort of out of the way, and the traffic flow tends to just be out of the way. They go to over. We notice that people use the clothes drop box there regularly. So we found that was made the most sense if we just coned off the other areas while we were in session. Of course, when we're not in session, we pick up all our cones and it's as if we were never there when we're not there.
Okay, that answers. So your area is not a permanent area set up?
No. We took down what we call cone placement markings, so they're painted lines, and path of travel markings, which are sort of dotted lines. They're just a reference for our instructors to go out and they know where to put in cones and do that. But then we pick everything up and leave, so it's as if we're not there. This is a unique situation with us, whereas this is I suppose it's a shared parking lot because it's a mall, but it's really not utilized that much. Most of our locations are at high school, middle schools, and community colleges and office parks. So we share parking lots quite a bit. So when we're not there, nobody wants to have any remnants of us being there so they can operate their primary operation.
Are there any classes during the week?
We would like to do maybe on Thursdays and Fridays, but as well, but we're not sure how popular they'll be. But if so, it would just be a Thursday, Friday offering. We just had never tried it before, but a lot of my instructors, most of my instructors are part-time, retired people that work on the weekends, and a lot of them had asked if we can maybe try something during the week. So we thought Thursdays and Fridays was a good time to try it, maybe a private lesson, a one-on-one lesson when people need remedial training, or a smaller group class. So I'll say yes, Thursday and Friday, but the bread and butter, 95% of the class, of course, Saturdays and Sundays. And it's April 1st through October 31st. This year will be a late start. If we're permitted to begin, it wouldn't be until probably May, because it takes a little bit of time to get everything set up and customers don't even know we're there. But typically it'd be April 1st to October 31st.
My final question, there's no sizing and dimensions of the area you're coning off?
Say it again?
Dimensions on the area that you're coning off?
Size.
Rough dimensions?
The dimensions?
Yeah.
Yes. It doesn't have to be your last question, by the way, so you can ask me. I got them all. 100 feet this way and 260 feet this way. So the range, we call that the perimeter. The range is actually 60 by 220. So if you do the math, it's 20 feet, 20 feet, 20 feet, 20 feet, 20 feet. So that's exactly how it is. And it's a national certification. So it's not as if we just came up with it. We're like, I think it would look good here. Like, it has to be approved nationally to do this. And they have a curriculum that we teach and we're trained to do. But everything has to be by the book. So for instance, if you're in Oklahoma, it's the same exact curriculum that you're teaching in Massachusetts.
That's all I have.
Lauren, you have any questions?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do you also take the students for their license when they're done training?
No, so we don't do anything. We go online and just notify the registry on Sunday night or Monday morning that they've passed, and we give them instructions as to what to do. They actually wait in the mail, and it gets sent to them in the mail.
My other concern is about the storage container. You say it's a 40-foot long storage container. Is it metal?
Yes. You've seen 1,000 of them. We rent them from Valtran or Eagle, one of those companies. So it's an 8-foot by 40-foot storage container, and we lock them. There's really good locking mechanisms on there. So I assume people are familiar with it.
And the motorcycles and the gas cans that you talk about here are all stored together in the container?
They are. So the way the gas works, so the motorcycles, the motorcycles are stored in there. There's there's 13 motorcycles in there, which fill up about 3/4 of it. Also in there are we have plastic chairs for people to sit on. We have umbrellas for the rain, things like that. First aid kit, some paperwork, but also the gas cans. So we there's probably 4 cans at a time. The way it works in our business is that we have people during the week. So like when everybody's teaching on the weekend, have at it. That's their job. During the week, Monday through Friday, is really myself and my staff. We get everything set up. So he wouldn't understand this analogy, but it reminded me of the milkman. They make fun of me at the office when I say it's the milkman concept. Remember you're in old school where you leave the empties out and then they give you the new ones, and I remember that, and everyone's looking at me like it's crazy, but the gas works the same way. We bring out the full can, take the empty ones, and then they recycle them that way. So nobody's really like filling up gas cans out there. That's kind of how it's done. And there's special containers. It's an industry standard for what type of gas container you can use inside a storage container, and it's a special. I think I wrote it in the application and put a picture in there, but it's a special type of can that you have to use. It's not a conventional Ocean State Job Lot plastic can.
Okay, one more question. We have a letter here that I was just reading from the Auburn Police Department. Have you had a chance to review this at all? So when it talks about liking, the lady says she would like to see a bigger barrier, stronger barrier. Do you have any comments about that?
I do. I was sort of hoping that they would be here so I could ask them a little bit more of where they're referencing. Ray and I talked about this. He's from the mall, and we talked about that quite a bit. There's a lot of variables involved with how you set up barriers. So what are you trying to accomplish? You're trying to accomplish traffic flow for cars. You're trying to accomplish barriers to keep people from driving onto you. So it's a lot of different ways of handling it. There's cones, there's plastic barriers, there's jersey barriers. So there's a lot of different variables depending on what's going on. So what the most practical thing in this situation is to just really to have cones, because the concern, I think it was the chief of police wrote in the letter, of our motorcycles going outside of the barriers.
Yep.
That doesn't happen. 25 years. What happens is, if you remember, I don't know if you ride a motorcycle or not, but if you ride a bicycle, it's the same thing. We teach people how to drive slowly. We're not teaching them how to drive fast. It's very slow motion. A lot of times they'll turn the wheel too much, fall over slow. So there's never really runaway motorcycle situations going on. But in the event, that could happen, I suppose. That's why there's a 20-foot barrier, and that's why there's a lot of room even outside of the barrier. That's why it's not a brick wall right at the 20-foot mark. So that's the first concern that they had in the email that I received. The second concern was cars coming in so they could hit us.
Yes.
Quite honestly, that's managed through traffic flow and not through barriers. In my mind, that's why we block off certain. This is not a problem similar to a street going two different ways when cars are passing each other this way. Intersections are a problem. So you always look for how cars are entering parking lots to see what are they looking at. Are they on their phone and driving straight? So in this case, we decided to block off those bottom lots and keep the one open there because they drive in that way. Last thing about the barriers, I hope I'm not boring you with the answers, is the barriers are not great for my world because it's something called target fixation. When you teach people to ride motorcycles, you stare where you're not supposed to stare at where you don't want to go. In fact, that's part of the class. You see an opening, you stare there because you're going to go where you're looking. So when we have a big target that you don't want to hit, so we kind of try to avoid huge things like that out there. Hopefully I answered your question.
The only question I have is, you said it was a 2-day training session?
Yes.
You want to sign up?
Pardon?
You want to sign up?
Coming. You'll see us online, hopefully, and register. We'd love to have you.
I do have one more question in terms of the cones that you're using. Are they just your standard cones, or What kind of cones are you using?
It's a great question. So I'm such a nerd when it comes to this stuff, so I love that somebody's asking me these questions. So there's 12-inch cones, 18-inch cones, 24-inch cones, 48-inch cones. Those are pretty much the standard size cones. So you have to take under consideration, we use the 18 and 28-inch cones for the simple reasons that 12-inch cones are pretty short, and a lot of times they blow around in the wind. 18-inch cones only weigh a pound more, so there's a variable involved with my instructors. Then nobody's going to work for me if they have to spend an hour a day putting out their cones, and at the end of the day picking up the cones, and they're heavy. So we have carts and different things like that. So we find that the 18-inch cones in the major openings by the street, we'll use the 28-inch cones. And then right down to the color, we want to use, of course, the brightest colors that we can get, which are the orange or the greens, most likely. And we stack them at the end. We have carts. There's a whole system that we have, because there's quite a bit of cones. There's over 100 cones, well over 100 cones when out there. It's a sight when we're there. You'll see us.
And my suggestion was going to be, you've seen the horizontal cones, horizontal bars,
Crossbars.
crossbars
Yep.
that go from cone to cone. That could be a suggestion. I'm not making it a mandate of this, but
It's a great idea. It's definitely an option. They're either or for us. They both work great. There's no downside to either one of them. It really just comes down to, in this case, how did I make that decision? Basically, just throw them in the container. So that's how I made that decision. If it turns out that safety is paramount with us. I mean, that, as you can imagine, this is what we do, and we want to make sure everyone's safe 100% of the time, and then everything else comes secondary. If we find that the cones aren't working or the confusion going on with traffic flow or something, then we could bring those out. That's a great idea. They're really cool. They stretch out from 6 feet to 20 feet. And so yeah, thanks for the idea. You may see one or two.
that's all I had.
Everybody done? Glenn, Ron? Okay, where you said you wanted to move the container over next to the Sears building?
I'm sorry?
Were you going to want to move the container over next to the Sears building, you said?
Yes, yeah.
Is that going to block any garage doors? Not that it's active, but it's fire protection. If that building goes on fire, you don't have access to the garage door.
You know the building.
Both sides of the buildings.
Can I answer that question?
Sure. Go up there, you got to go up there and state your name.
Ray Verone, 45 Scott.
Stand about that high they look like a candlestick?
Oh, right. No, they're the traditional cones with a flared out at the bottom. The problem with the sticks is that they fall over unless you use the weights.
You have to use the weights, yeah.
There. So, and because we have really, I think there's 150, 200 cones out there, dominoes. My instructors will they'd shoot me and then they'd quit. That's kind of how that would play out.
I am taking the recommendation from the police department pretty seriously, and the other thing is, where it says dark for Dark Brook, where the entrance is you want to block,
Which one?
at the entrance you want to block?
Oh,
I can speak to that.
yeah, go ahead.
No, so the entrance that Rick is speaking of is an entrance to the parking lot. We would not block any access from Southbridge Street to the property.
So you're going to lay cones all along there, too, on the edge of that access road, so nobody drives into your area?
Right, so we decided, Ray, what did we're gonna make it the goal is to make it visible. So if somebody comes in, they know, they don't have to travel this way. That's kind of how traffic flow. Traffic flow is really what we're trying to achieve there, not a barrier to get hit. It's more of like, hey, I'm supposed to go this way kind of thing.
And if I can add something else. So just want to add that this parking lot is not frequently traveled by those coming into or out of the mall. The Sears Auto Building and the main Sears building is not utilized at the moment. So again, there's not much traffic that comes into and out of this parking lot. And on this site plan that Rick provided, there's grass islands that can be seen on the site plan. The cones would go in between those grass islands to block the egress or entryway into the motorcycle training area.
I do like the recommendation or the suggestion that Jason made with the expandable
Sure.
bars. Those would be effective in the area you're working. It would also be very effective when you go between the islands with the cones, just put one across. It's just
Perfect, we'll try that.
that more people can see.
Great idea.
And as far as carrying them around, I mean, if you got a hand truck, you can stack them all in a hand truck and bring them right over to the...
Oh, I just tell my guys to just do it. You got to do it or you can't work here. We'll get it done.
Pickup truck works great.
Okay, good, thanks. No, that is a great idea. I'm on the fence with what to do. We've done both, so that's a great idea.
And my last thing was, you said that you operate on Saturday and Sunday?
Yes.
What time Sunday?
So 7:30 to 1 is our class.
Sunday?
Saturday and Sunday, 7:30 to 1.
I don't know if that passes the town bylaw for doing something at 7:30 in the morning on a Sunday. I don't know.
I'm not aware of anything that calls that out.
There aren't any houses directly in the area, but the mall doesn't open till 10, if I'm not mistaken. The only store that's open in that area is Starbucks across the street.
I don't know the rules, of course, but just so you know what happens at 7:30, people get there, they're not even touching a motorcycle until about 9 o'clock, about 8:30 or so. It's a sit down, calm everybody down, talk to them, go through what the safety procedures. So I don't know if that's something that impacts your decision or not, but it's...
What kind of motorcycles, two-cycle or four-cycle engines?
So 2 cycles are the crazy loud ones, and no, so they're 4 cycles, and so we want them to be as slow as possible. Like, the expression we use in the industry is they're great bikes to teach on, horrible bikes to ride. You wouldn't want to ride any of these on the highway. They're really slow.
What kind of bike is it? I mean, the brand.
So there's a lot of different ones, but something called the Suzuki TU250s are really popular. Basically, what we want is the standard ones where you put your feet down right away. They make all these really funky, cool ones with the rebels with the feet putting forward in the handlebars. They look great, but they're horrible bikes to learn on because everybody's so nervous. You have to put your feet from here to here, and so they look great. So that's a perfect example of great bike to ride, horrible bike to learn on. But we use a lot of something called the KLX 230 SM, which is a street motorcycle, but it's a lightweight one.
And now I have 2 more questions. What about trash? Somebody brings a cup of coffee, what do you do with it?
So we didn't have this discussion yet, so I'll have to ask. We'll have it in front of you. But we have a barrel, and we have everybody's there. Like, we know we want to keep this place pristine. I mean, again, we're mostly. I mean, not that the mall's any different, but we're in schools, so we don't want trash all over the place, so we're very careful about that. We usually just tie it up and throw it in the dumpster if it's access. If there's no dumpster available to us, when the guys come out and do the gas, they grab the trash. Is there a dumpster?
Yeah, there are 2 trash compactors and 2 cardboard compactors on site, which will take care of all the trash that the training school creates.
Well, my last question is, I know you're storing, what, maybe 4 gas cans at a time inside the Connex? So you said they're the OSHA safety ones?
Yeah, so that we had I learned about that when I first started 25 years ago about how to work. Everything's been analyzed, and the rules are very clear what to do. When you have this type of container, this is the type of can that you use, et cetera.
No worries about venting the container?
No, it's these special containers. They're actually called Eagle containers, and they're metal. And don't ask me to explain
The
more.
ones you gotta pull the handle back on.
Yes, exactly. So they spring closed, and yeah.
Okay.
I did make the mistake of buying about 5 of them when I first started 25 years ago, the plastic ones from Ocean State that are in my garage. So if anybody wants them, I have 5 unused plastic.
Have the vent cap?
Yeah. My wife will be happy to get them out. I'm too cheap to throw them away, so you...
I don't blame you. Does anybody have any other comments?
Just question security-wise. You have the container there, locked up bikes, likely people are not looking at it most of the week. You guys have any security plans or cameras or anything like
They
that?
have mall security there, right?
Yeah, I'll touch on that. So we have 24-hour, 7-day-a-week mall security. They do mobile patrols. And we also have a scanning protocol that we can add a scan code to that, which will make them physically check that area, say, 2 times a night, or whatever the case is.
And just in regards to locking up the bikes, this is Fort Knox. We lock these things up. Everybody in the world knows what's in there. So we make sure that it's pretty hard to get in. We've never had a problem.
How did you like that area?
They'll have to go to
Is it a
fire.
good area for training?
Permitting, they need to.
I think it's a very quiet, it's one of the quietest areas in the mall.
Never had comments from fire, I asked them for comments.
But the least, I leased it from them last year or the year before for something. We never used it, but I had it there. And they said that was the least trafficked area.
Anybody else have any questions or concerns? May I have a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second,
May I have a motion to, as a condition on this, just file a site plan with Adam, your new location of your Connex box, and that you use the bars between the cones? I think that's a lot to ask, but, and then, I don't know about the 7:30 start. I know you're saying I can start a motorcycle till 9, but I don't know what the town bylaw is on that, because when contractors work, they can't work on Sunday, so, I don't know. But
I think
Private
this
schools.
might be different. This would fall under like the carnival or something
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
open early. Okay. May I have a motion to approve with the conditions I just made?
I'll make that motion.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Glenn?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Aye.
Myself, Jerry's aye. It is a vote. Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Next on the agenda is applicant Arbor Recycling requesting site plan approval under section 9.4.1 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for a warehouse at 4749 Rockland Road, Auburn, Mass., map 17, parcels 177 and 224. They have requested a continuance till our April meeting, correct? Like a
April
month?
9th. April 9th.
April 9th meeting. May I have a motion to approve the continuance?
I move to,
Open the hearing first and then continue.
I think we had open hearing.
Yeah, we gotta open the hearing first. and then-
May I have a motion to open the hearing?
I move to open the hearing.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor, Glenn?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Myself, John Reed, and I. May I have a motion to continue this hearing until our April 9th meeting?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Ron? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Myself, John Reed, and I, it is a vote. Next on the agenda is, may I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes as approved for our February 25th meeting? As submitted, I mean.
I move to approve the minutes from 2/25/25 as submitted.
May I have a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor, Glenn?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Myself, John Reeves, and I. No one foreseen business by me. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make the motion.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor, Glenn?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Myself, John Reeves, aye. We are now adjourned.